Good afternoon. My name is Damian Ishmael Ferrum Conatu. Welcome to another lecture about restorative justice. We're starting approximately a couple of days early today to give you more time to complete the individual lecture project. This is the primary text for the course. This book can be found and purchased on Amazon.com. You are welcome to take the best notes during this lecture. I have scheduled an individual lecture project after the lecture. Let's begin. Our connections to our ancestors provide us security. This security has an order. This is not an order of inferiority or superiority. We understand our potential and purpose in this order. For example, people have dominion over animals. Therefore, if a person acts like a dog acts, he or she acts out of character. Dogs fight one another to settle differences, but people come together and reason with one another to settle differences. Some people believe and say that black people are dogs. Thus, some people go to conquer black people. Some black people believe and call themselves dogs. Hence, they put other people above them. These people follow white supremacy. White supremacy is a spirit. Words are spirit. Many words make a message and a theology. A theology is a belief system. People think, speak, act, and go according to a belief system. Nevertheless, a spirit is energy. White supremacy is an energy. Energy is power. Energy moves gases, liquids, and solids. The human body is a solid. The blood, saliva, and similar substances of the body are liquids. Oxygen and carbon dioxide are gases. White supremacy is invisible but real. The human body is visible and real also. A spirit such as white supremacy moves the person to think, speak, act, and go according to its standards. To illustrate, some black people believe that white people are always right. In addition, some black people always publicly agree with white people. Plus, some black people follow white people's examples without reservations. For example, some white men were gangsters and used deadly force against their enemies. In saying this, some black people follow this example and use deadly forces against their enemies. However, we are responsible for our thoughts, words, actions, and ways, and we suffer the consequences for our thoughts, words, actions, and ways. the truth comes back to our minds. Genesis chapter 8, verse 1 states, open quote, God remembered Noah, all the animals, and all the livestock that were with him in the ship. And God made a wind to pass over the earth. Close quote. We remember what is right. For instance, shortly before we open quote, pull the trigger, close quote, to a gun and shoot the impending victim, a feeling of fear comes over us. This might be a brief feeling, yet in this moment, we are afraid of the consequences for our impending actions. Nevertheless, some of us deny this fear and shoot other people. In addition, we hide from the revelation of the truth. We commit more crimes against other people to conceal the truth. We commit more crimes against other people to conceal the truth. Thus, we entrap ourselves in a open quote web of lies, close quote. We escape the physical punishment sometimes, but many lies keep us from a free, peaceful, and prosperous life. However, some of us make peace with the lies and don't try to struggle against it to escape. But lies continue to hinder our freedom and prosperity. Troubles don't continue with us. Genesis chapter 8, verse 2 states, open quote, the deep's fountains and the sky's windows were also stopped, and the rain from the sky was restrained, close quote. To the contrary, while we are in the troubles, it appears that conditions don't improve. However, every natural thing has a beginning and ending. The beginning is life. The ending is death. On the other hand, supernatural beings have no ending. Supernatural beings are energy. For example, truth is knowledge. Knowledge has no ending. On another note, lies have no ending either. Yet, the progress of lies stops at the universal revelation of the truth. Then, lies remain in shame. We won't be in the same place forever. Genesis chapter 8, verse 3 states, open quote, the waters continually receded from the earth. After the end of 150 days, the waters receded, close quote. It is good to want to work to improve one's conditions. Nothing is free. Do not expect to receive, open quote, something for nothing, close quote. If we expect to receive, open quote, something for nothing, close quote, we set ourselves to become victims of other people's con games. Even if our conditions don't change as a result of much diligence, we continue to work to set our descendants for success. To clarify, we establish a pattern of discipline and diligence. Something must, open quote, give way, close quote, to our discipline and diligence. Discipline is the determination to accomplish a goal. Diligence is the continued effort to accomplish a goal. In order to overcome some obstacles, We must think about ways to use more force from greater resources. For example, a bulldozer works better than a garden hoe and swing blade. If we stay in the truth, we complete our life's purpose. Genesis chapter 8, verse 4 states, open quote, "The ship rested in the seventh month, on the 17th day of the month, on Ararat's mountains," close quote. For example, we plan to build a house for our community. The house must protect us from various storms and violence from other people and animals. Therefore, we must use certain materials to make the house strong against the most resistful forces. The house must be large enough to accommodate everybody in the community. The house must be on a stable foundation to maintain equality in the community. If we build the house with the correct materials and according to the correct dimensions, we fulfill our purpose to save the community from outside dangers. If we follow what is right, conditions become better for us. Genesis chapter 8, verse 5 states, open quote, "The waters receded continually until the 10th month," close quote. Rain clouds go in patterns around the earth. Every land has a rainy season. This is the truth. Rain makes seeds grow into plants. Rain makes plants fruitful to give us food to eat. We must eat food to live. If we live according to the truth to prepare the ground to plant seeds and plant seeds shortly before the rain comes, we reap a plentiful harvest. However, some nations invent things to change the pattern of rain clouds so certain regions don't get rain. In saying this, people in these regions suffer from famines and droughts and diseases. Many of them die. The remnant become dependent on foreigners for basic life support. Some of these foreigners are the same people that make their lands impoverished. The truth is a good foundation. Genesis chapter 8, verse 9 states, open quote, "But the dove found no place to rest her foot, and she returned into the ship to him, for the waters were on the surface of the whole earth," close quote. When we are right, we are not concerned about being proven wrong. When we understand the truth, we speak the truth with confidence. When we understand the right way to perform an action, such as solving a math problem, we perform it with confidence. When we understand the right way to our destination, we go this way without any concerns to being lost. We need evidence that life is ahead before we proceed forward. Genesis chapter 8, verse 11 states, open quote, "The dove came back to him at evening, and behold, in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf," close quote. Some of us are in places where other people are dying. We can't stay here. Plus, we don't want to go into similar or worse conditions. Therefore, we learn how to judge short-term and long-term conditions of places. For instance, a place is prosperous, but poverty is in its near future, or a place is a desert, but prosperity comes its way, or a place is a desert, but prosperity comes its way. We learn how to not make decisions for the present but for the future. Hence, we choose not to retaliate against other people that offend our loved ones because we choose to be with them and not in prisons or graves in the future. Don't become permanently attached to other people. Genesis chapter 8, verse 12 states, open quote, He waited yet another 7 days and sent out the dove, and she didn't return to him anymore. Close quote. Death is a reality for the human race. We will leave this earth. We will lose relationships with other people. Love other people as you love yourself. However, receive wisdom from other people. When we apply other people's wisdom, their spirits live with us. Wisdom is a spirit. Hence, wisdom is a set of words, and words are spirit. However, people's bodies decay. We die, and our bodies decompose. Therefore, love other people's souls and spirits, but not their bodies. If we love other people's bodies but don't know their souls and spirits, we lose all of them in death. The soul is a person's intellect, focus, and emotions. The spirit is a person's character. The truth is our veil from the world. Genesis chapter 8, verse 13 states, open quote, Noah removed the covering of the ship and looked, close quote. By the truth, we know who is right and wrong. We protect the ones that are right from the offenses of the ones that are wrong. Also, we correct the people that are wrong. We correct them through the criminal justice systems and other means because we believe there is still hope for their repentance and salvation. Correction is a guilty person's grace from condemnation. To the contrary, some people reject correction and receive no grace. They live a hard life and die a quick death. Yet, this is some people's fantasy. They don't take the time to really enjoy life. Life is still good even though it is temporary. We should prepare ourselves for consistent change. Genesis chapter 8, verse 22 states, open quote, While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night will not cease. Close quote. We can become better through change. Repentance means, open quote, a change for the better as a result of remorse for one's sins, close quote. We cannot change from unjust ways unless we are sorry for these ways. A person continues to murder until he or she rejects his or her actions. When the person rejects his or her actions, he or she comes face to face with the truth humbles people. This concludes the lecture. This is your individual lecture project. Listen as I read the instructions to your individual project. Imagine that you are the person behind this veil. This veil is the truth. You are under the truth. The truth humbles you. You see the world from the truth. In one essay, explain how you become humbled at the revelation of the truth. Explain how you understand the world from the truth versus from lies. Thank you and have a blessed day. Thank you for listening to the lecture and have fun and be diligent to complete the individual lecture project. Stand by for the next lecture next week. Thank you and have a blessed day.